Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's a beautiful day in South London and I thought I would do this video on my couch, on my sofa, get nice and comfortable. So, a little disclaimer, I'm going to be talking about my abusive relationship. So I just want to give you a little bit of a warning. If you're easily offended by me dropping the F-bomb, swearing, then you might want to click away and go and watch another channel, okay? Because I'm going to keep this completely real and honest. I'm going to be really raw. I'm going to be sharing a few things that might offend some people, and I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just telling you my experience, okay? So this is the most requested video because I know a lot of people, when I posted that little clip, 40-second clip, on my Instagram account, were like, oh wow. So let's just get down to it. So first thing you need to know is this. I am a really strong, confident, independent person, okay? I do not take crap from anyone. I'm not arrogant and I'm not a bully, but I am confident in what I believe and how I try to carry myself. Okay, so how is it that someone that can be so confident, have bags of personality, allow themselves to be in a horrible relationship for about 3 years until I met Marco? Simple. I had zero self-esteem, and I didn't have any self-esteem because I was a single mum and I was listening. I allowed myself to be surrounded by negative people that were saying everything that I wouldn't achieve anything in my life, who's going to want to be with me because I've got a child. So I allowed myself to believe all of those words being constantly drummed into me. If you hear bad words every day, continually for about 3 years, you're going to start to believe that shit. And that's what happened to me. So I met this guy through my best friend, okay, and at the time I thought, oh my gosh, wow, he has what I believed at the time to have a really good job, even though he was living at home with his mum. But anyway, forget about that. He had a really good job. He was driving, not a particularly good car, but you know, he's still driving. And I was thinking, oh, man's got potential. I could see myself settling down with this dude. And then slowly, the controlling aspect of his character that I chose to ignore in the beginning, because there's a difference from supporting and actually telling your partner things about them that is wrong and you're trying to improve them. If you're with someone and they are only nitpicking, they're only telling you bad, they're only highlighting your flaws and they're magnifying it so that to such an extent where you start to actually question who you are as a person, get up and leave now. Like, don't even wait, just get the fuck out of the door, right? And that's what happened. So the physical abuse came after the mental abuse. So after he had robbed me of my self-confidence, just telling me stuff over and over again that, you know, I'm not good enough, why am I speaking to this person, and all of that nonsense, then the physical abuse kicked in. And the first time he slapped me, we were actually driving back from a wedding. Thankfully, Geneva wasn't in the car that day. And I must have made like a really passing, you know, like a bit of banter, a little joke or something. Why did he just turn around and just slap me round the face? And it weren't like that, it was like a full-on ka-chow slap, okay, knocked my head up against the window. And I was like, you know when you're just in shock because you don't know what's just happened? So that happened, and then we're driving back home to my house in my car, and we've gone in, and I said to him that, you know, what did I say that made you do that? And then it was full on toe to toe fighting, you know. And when it all stopped, it was, well, if you didn't talk back to me, if you didn't answer me back, if you just listen to what I was telling you, you wouldn't find yourself on the floor crying. This is all your fault. This is all your fault. I'm not a violent person. I'm not a violent person. And so when he's saying that to me, I'm actually thinking, oh my gosh, Sue, maybe your mouth is a little bit too sharp. Maybe you need to tone down how you speak to him, because after all, you know, he's your boyfriend and you do actually want to marry him. So I believed that. And then it continued and it continued and it continued. I mean, I don't need to go through every every flipping episode, do I? But yeah, so it was just like that continuously. We'd have really, really good moments, and then the mentally breaking down would start, and the physical abuse would start. Incidentally, he never ever laid a finger or shouted at Geneva, ever, 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 never, ever, ever. So I'm not gonna, you know, say anything about that, but yeah. And I don't think she always witnessed all of the physical abuse, but certainly she must have flipping heard it, because, you know, when two adults are flipping shouting, you know, what else is there? So anyway, and that happened. And then over a period of time, I began to realise that actually, I don't actually want to be with this person. He's not the right person for me. And I started to feel really miserable. I lost myself. I didn't know who I was as a person because of him, because I allowed another human being that did not give birth to me. Even if my own parents tried to do that, there would be questions, you know? But at least you could kind of understand it because they're your parents. Who's this wanker abusing me? Why am I allowing it to happen? And that's the most painful aspect of it for myself, is that I allowed myself to stay in the relationship. I didn't have enough self-belief in myself to think that actually I deserve better. And when the relationship broke down, it broke down because he actually cheated on me. So he spent 3 years breaking me down as a person, okay? And then he goes off and has an affair. I found out, I rang his phone Good Friday 2004, because I was 29 at the time. And another girl's picking up his phone telling me she's the girlfriend and he's in the bathroom. Yeah, it was as blunt as that. Bearing in mind, the night before that, so it would have been the Thursday, he was in my bed. I went to be with this girl on the Friday, Good Friday. I've rang up, she's picked up the phone. So he was basically sleeping with the both of us. I mean, just disgusting, like fucking hell. So that happened and I was really heartbroken. I was heartbroken more because I felt embarrassed. I felt like a fucking fool. I'm not gonna lie. That is how I felt. I felt like a fool, that I had allowed this twat to do what he did to me, and now he's gone off with another girl, ended up getting engaged to her like in a heartbeat. Yeah, you kept on stringing me along for like 3 years. I'm going to talk about all of that in a minute. Just that's going to be my little motivational bit. Strung me along for 3 years, and then you go off and meet someone, get engaged, get married, plan a wedding, and then I'm just left. Myself and Geneva just left to pick up the pieces of our broken lives. So yeah, I didn't tell my family at the time, because my family would have been like, but Sue, you are a strong person. I can't see anybody talking down to you, and you're going to let them get away with it. You see, that is the problem. Because I was such a strong, confident person and bubbly person and always encouraged people, it was very hard for my family to comprehend that I would allow myself to be put in that relationship and stay there. It was just really difficult. And actually, it was difficult for me, and I was the one allowing it to happen. So that happened. We all cried. And I always remember what one of my cousins said. My cousin said that, you know what, sometimes, okay, when shit happens in life, we actually can't see the benefits of it. In time, Sue, you will see the benefits. And when she was saying that, I actually couldn't see the benefits, because for that whole 3 years I was in that relationship, all I wanted was to have my own little family. I wanted a ring on my finger. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have more children. And when the idea came that actually I'm not going to have this little fairy tale ending, it fucking hurt. It hurt. And it hurt more because he wasn't actually a particularly good person or even like a really good looking guy. It's just that I latched onto him because I was going through a bereavement when I first met him, and that was my mum had passed away. So I was an emotional wreck at the time anyway, and then I go and meet this person. But yeah, so that happened. That's how I eventually left the relationship, because even though I wanted to, I should have taken that decision myself. The decision was taken out of my hand. What I want to say is this, okay? If you're in a relationship, it can even be a marriage, okay? If you're in a marriage or in a relationship, if that person is not elevating you as a person, and now I'm not talking about having an argument with your partner or your husband, because you know what? Everybody argues. You should see the way me and Marco argue. You would be surprised, okay, that we've been able to be married for 11 years. The reason being is that when we argue, it's not personal. We're not dredging up the past, or we're not using personal things to attack each other. We're arguing about what the topic is now, and that's it. There is a sense of respect. There is a sense of unadulterated love between myself and Marco, to the point that when we argue, we're not arguing and thinking, right, take your ring back, you know, we're having a divorce. No, it is, we've got a misunderstanding, we deal with it. The flip side of that is if you're arguing, like, so when I was with my ex, anytime we would argue, I would secretly be praying that he would actually leave, but he wouldn't, because he wasn't done with me yet. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the way he used to cuss me and bring me down and talk about all my flaws, how I looked, how I dressed, how I did my hair, the people that I spoke to, my so-called friends, all of that is unnecessary, and it all contributed to me feeling even more unsure of myself and made me just stay there, because I just believed that I wouldn't have anything better than what I'm currently having. I believed that I didn't deserve anything better. So if you're in a relationship and you place no self-worth or no self-value upon yourself, the other person is not going to give you that level of value or respect that you need. And this is what I tell my daughters. I tell Geneva the same thing. Listen, if you don't place any self-worth or value on yourself, if you do not love yourself, and I'm not talking about love yourself because you've lost a few pounds, or love yourself because you're looking all fly in a new outfit. No, I mean really love yourself, appreciate who you are as a woman, as a strong woman. Nobody else, your husband's not going to do that for you, because his job is just to compliment you, and vice versa. You have to be able to build up yourself first. You've got to get your mindset right in who you are as a person, so that somebody else can elevate you to the place, put you on that pedestal where you should be. So at the minute, I am living a fantastic life. I'm on a pedestal, not just because Marco's put me on that pedestal, but because I worked on myself. I worked on being the best person that I could be, the best mother that I can be. And he saw all of those qualities, and he's just basically enhanced it, and vice versa. So that's one part. The people I chose to associate, the people that I thought were my friends at the time, weren't really my friends, because no friend should be bringing you down, never happy for you, not being engaged in your progress, not wanting to do things that will make your friendship grow. You're not growing together. They're essentially stabbing you in the back, and you're not actually noticing it, because you feel that if you don't speak to these people, if you cut them off, your life is just going to be empty. That is how I felt, right? And what is the third thing? The third thing really is not to be so desperate to settle down and have like a boyfriend. And that's how I felt at the time. I felt, because I'm a single mum, who the fuck's gonna want me? Because I've got a child, I'm on my own, who's going to want me? No one. And that is how he broke me down mentally and physically. And why? Because I wanted to be married so desperately, and I felt as though what he was saying and what his parents were saying and all of his friends were saying, it was just it was just horrible. But now I can sit back and I can look back and think, wow. And the thing is, I understand why it's so hard for lots of women find it hard to leave abusive relationships, because oftentimes if they don't have their own money and it's the husband that is bringing in the money and they're solely dependent on their husband, you're going to find it difficult to leave that relationship. Thankfully for me, I had my own money, I had my own job, I had a really, really great job. I had just bought my house, so you know, materialistically I was self-sufficient. But I understand that there are not a lot of women that find themselves in my position where they weren't dependent on the guy's income. But if you do find yourself in that situation where you are just solely dependent on the guy, I would strongly urge you to speak to your family and your good friend. You will be surprised how much support and love they have for you. You do not need to stay with anybody. Cannot stress this enough. Anybody. Look, if a man hits a woman, and I mean this, if a man hits a woman the first time, he will do it again, because you have set no standards, you've set no boundaries on what is acceptable to you. And that was the mistake that I did. From when he started breaking me down, saying all of these horrible, horrible things, controlling me. Even, you know what, he even controlled my money. Can you imagine? I used to give him money, and he had a job. I used to give him money. Why did I do that? Because I was so desperate to make him happy. I was so desperate for the relationship to work, because I thought that was the kind of relationship that I needed and I wanted. And in reality, it really, really wasn't. Right, I'm looking over at my watch. Oh gosh, I've been speaking for about 18 minutes. Right, I'm going to cut this video really short. Listen, if you found this video helpful or encouraging, please, 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 please share the video, like the video, subscribe to my channel. Be great because you are. Never allow anyone to have that much emotional control over your life, because it's your life. Only you can decide who is allowed in it, and you make yourself happy and everything else will be great. And remember, success is whatever you want it to be. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.